Good morning, everyone. Great to see all your shining faces. Appreciate you being here. If you don't know, my name is Larry Nutt. I'm the chair for the Downtown MIBOR Division. We appreciate you all for tuning in today. Have some great content, I think. You all find it beneficial. So first off, I'd like to introduce our lovely staff and help panelists here. Oh, my computer's lagging. Sorry about that. Myself, obviously, Crystal White is our vice chair. She'll be doing the moderation of the panel as well today. Rosie Newman is our secretary. Todd Callion is our treasurer. Jen Short is the District 1 rep. Michael Albrecht is our social committee chair. Laura Paul is our community liaison. And our lovely past chair is Lucy Chalian. If you have any questions about how to get involved for the rest of this year, we've got 6 meetings left, or next year, of course, 2022, be sure to reach out to any of us. We can help facilitate that. So in an effort to get this show on the road, I'd like to introduce our sponsors here. I'm not going to read them off because you can obviously see them on your screen, but luckily we're blessed with Kim Jors of Meridian Title, and I believe she's on here. Miss Kim.
Hi guys. Hi.
I will stop sharing my screen if you have something you can share.
I don't have the screen share, sorry, but are you ready for me to say my
yeah,
spiel?
go. The floor is yours. So
we will have a flyer up all month long on the Downtown MIBOR Facebook that you can reference. But again, my name's Kimberly Jors Riddle. I'm with Meridian Title, and as you guys know, wire fraud continues to be a threat. So we've added another secure way to receive wire instructions, and it's called Certified ID. It's $4.95, which is charged to your client, and that is not a Meridian Title charge. You can still obtain verbal wire instructions by calling any of our offices, but a lot of times customers would prefer to have them emailed. You can also pick up physical copies of the wire instructions at any of our offices, but the certified ID is just another way when a lot of clients like to have them emailed to them. So if you prefer to have them emailed, just let us know, and we just need a contact phone number, and our accounting department will reach out and get that all set up for you guys. And that's really all I have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to call any of the offices. You can reach me, and I'm Kimberly Jors Riddle, and I'm happy to help with any title questions.
Thank you, Kimberly. We'll put your contact up, info, leave it up here in the chat if you
Okay.
reach out as well. And then, yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great information.
Thank you.
All right, here, let me get my screen share back up. Fantastic. So now is the time. Every week or every month we ask for help from y'all to help support our partner, the Brookside Elementary School. We raise funds every month for their Eagle store, and so you kind of see some photos of what our funds go to. Our funds help purchase some of these prizes, and they get rewarded on their behavior. They can, take their little tokens and go and purchase some supplies or toys or things that I'm sure the parents really enjoy them having at their house, but we like to help and reward them for good behavior. So to do so, you can either contact one of us and we can help facilitate your donation via check or however you want to donate as well. Or you can utilize our Venmo here. Jen Short's been so helpful here and setting that up for us. And then we'll contribute that to there at the end of the year. And we've raised, I believe, around $580 this year. Like to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. So anything you can do helps. So appreciate. We'll pop that up later in the slide as well. But so now to the whole reason we're here. I'm going to toss it over to Crystal. Crystal will be moderating for us. And then you can take it from there, introduce our lovely panelist, and get this show on the road.
Thank you, Larry. All right, you guys, how exciting. So we are going to get started with 4 questions for our amazing panelists. And so this way we know we hear from everybody. It's going to be 4. I'm trying to help you guys out to remember these things. But what we want to know is obviously who you are. Second, what brokerage you're with. Third, how long you've been in the business. And then the most important question, number 4, is if you were to get a rare free weekend, what would you be doing? Skiing, riding a bike, hiking, reading a book. What does that look like? So those are the 4: who you are, your brokerage, how long in the business, and what would you do on that rare free weekend? And you guys take it away. Whoever wants to go first, just go ahead.
Okay, I'll get us leaded. I'm Molly Hadley. I'm with FC Tucker, and I've been in the business for 14 years. And on a rare weekend free, I'd like to think I'd be sipping on a Mai Tai, but I'd probably just be chasing kids in the backyard and having a good time with my family. So doing anything outside. That's it.
Cool. Next, just go ahead, guys. Whoever wants to go next.
I'm Kelly Lavengood with Platt Collective. I've also been in real estate for 14 years, started at Tucker around the same time as Molly and moved to Platt end of 2018. And on a rare free weekend or even a non-free weekend, I would probably be at Raccoon Lake. We bought a fixer-upper last year. So that second home life is mostly me doing house projects and yard work, but still fun.
Awesome.
Hey guys, my name is Mark Branch. I'm with High Garden Real Estate. I've been in real estate for just about 16 years now, a little over 16 years. And we just love to spend time in our backyard. We got a new fence, a fire pit. We've been cooking out a lot. I think these answers might be different if we hadn't just come out of COVID. So we're all saying backyard a lot.
Yeah.
But I'll have to stick with that and say backyard and riding bikes, and we walk in our neighborhood a lot.
I love that. Thanks for pointing that out, Mark. It's funny when the market shifts and when the world shifts, the market shifts, but we have to also learn how to shift too. So I love that you said that. When things shift, we'll have to ask this again because the answers probably will be very different.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I am not going to be, all 3 of you have rightfully earned your spot here today, obviously, and we're all wanting to hear from you. I am not going to make it where I'm the teacher and you're the student. You have to answer every single question, all 3 of you. I want you to just feel free to go at your rhythm, your pace. I'm going to ask the question. You all, if someone has something they want to share, go for it. If you all 3 really want to share something, go for it. But if you feel like other 2 people have already shared something, you don't have anything to add, I'm not going to press you. I'll make sure we hear from all of you, trust me. So my first question is, please describe the structure of your team. For example, the number of people that are on it, the ratio of production versus administrative staff, buyers agents, listing specialists, whatever your flow is, if you could let us know. And I would like to hear from all 3 of you on that particular one because it's probably going to be a little different. So have at it.
Okay, we'll go in the same order here. So I have 2 licensed team members on my team and 2 unlicensed team members that serve as a support role. One is full-time. For us, that's 36 hours a week as a transaction manager. The other is part-time, and she is our marketing assistant on the team, in charge of all, obviously, marketing, but also our client engagement, client parties. The ratio, it would be about for every 2 million, we have an hour of administrative. So it's something that we started to grow as a team around the 6 million mark, where we needed that support, starting with the admin being the most important. So that's the makeup of our team.
I love that.
I have 3 licensed agents on my team. One of those is our transaction coordinator who just got her license in April. Congratulations, Erin. She's on this call. And we have another gentleman joining us as soon as he passes his test, and we currently have a summer intern. So I guess we have 2 admin at the moment. And our transaction coordinator is 30 hours a week. We'll see how that role might transition as she's now licensed. But we'll see how it goes. And so far, we don't have particular roles on the team, although the agent who is getting his license is supposed to be coming on as a showing agent, buyer's agent, but I still have not figured out how I want to structure that role.
So we're comprised of 5 agents, and then myself, 2 transaction coordinators, and 1 full-time assistant.
I like, thank you guys for that. I like what you mentioned, Kelly, in the sense of, it sounds like sometimes you don't wait until you need something desperately. Maybe this person you're bringing on, you're not really even sure how you're going to structure them in, but I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, are foreseeing that maybe that's something you would like to have, but you've already started the works of getting that person added on, and we'll figure it out as you go. Would that be accurate, or correct me?
Well, last summer, we bought our lake property last summer. And so I spent, and this is probably getting ahead on some of the questions, but I spent pretty much every weekend for 4 months at the lake. And it's only an hour and 15 minutes away. So there were times that I drove back for a showing. But if there was something that needed to happen on Saturday or Sunday, and I had friends coming out to the lake, then I had one of the licensed agents from my team show for me. And so it became apparent that there was maybe a need for somebody who that was their role. And also not just for me, but for the other team members. We all have young children and full lives. And so just having that balance, not just for me, but for everybody, became a goal of mine. Balance is probably not the right word, because I don't think that's attainable in this business, but I like to call it a work-life blend. So.
Life blend, I like that. Harmony, have multiple things going at the same time, but there's a rhythm. I love that. Okay, so our title says it all. It's a seller's market. What are you doing to help put your buyers in the best position to buy? And how are you preparing your sellers? Anyone care to share?
Molly, go ahead.
Okay, so for our buyers,
Mark is like,
Guys.
ladies first.
Okay, for our buyers, we are approaching our buyer meeting a little differently. We're still talking about the buying process, but we've definitely switched gears and then talking about strategies to this market and strategies to win a bidding war. I don't think that is something that we really talked about at that first initial meeting before this market took off in the way that it is. So we are approaching those buyer meetings kind of head on with strategies on how to win a bidding war. Our sellers, we're setting expectations, obviously what to expect, but we are not pulling back on our marketing. We've actually increased our marketing budget for our listings. We're spending more time and money on the marketing piece of it beforehand. We are doing a strategizing time where we ask them to be out of the home for 3 consecutive days upon listing. So it's just easier on them. So we definitely spend more time in preparation for the listing and more money on marketing. And then our buyers, we're just having a very upfront conversation. We're also talking about pulling back on their down payment to give us additional cash leverage to make up the low appraisal. So if they're prepared for 10% down, we might talk about pulling that back potentially to a 5% down to give us the cash we need to make up a low appraisal. So just various strategies talking about up front.
Yeah, so for me, for buyers, we're definitely having those meetings in office as much as possible, setting down and talking, where maybe before I would have went out with them and seen a home and had a conversation in the field. I just will not do that now. It needs to be a set down strategic conversation about how the market is, what they can expect. And then I'll just add, I think everything Molly said was great. And then I'll just add my little part and peace out is that I love to show people what it's like from the other side. So if they are just buyers, I think they need to understand what it looks like from the seller's side. It's not just this amazing situation where everything is tipped in the seller's favor and it's so amazing. What I like to show them is that it's very stressful on the seller's side. They're getting spreadsheets, they're seeing lots of things being thrown their way. So if we show them a property that we recently sold and the offers that those people got, then it makes it a little bit more real for the buyers to understand, hey, this really is what it's like out there. Because I have to remind myself that, they don't do this every day. So they're not seeing and understanding the way that Kelly, Molly, and I do. That this is, it's ingrained into our minds right now that this is crazy and everything else. All they hear is maybe something from their mom and dad and a couple of friends. So it's our job to be the experts and sit down and show them what the other side is seeing.
I work a lot in very popular areas that have been selling quickly, multiple offers for the past several years. And so that's always been a big part of my buyer consult. And I try to always sit down in office. I've done a lot via Zoom in the last 15, 16 months, but I try to talk through the purchase agreement up front. I don't want somebody to see it for the first time when they're making an offer. And when I'm going through it, I talk through some of the things that a buyer can do to leverage their offer to make it stronger. In April, I had, maybe it was late March, a very frustrating week where I lost 3 competitive offers in a row. And I just got pissed off, for lack of a better term. And I was like, what can I do? Because we wrote fantastic offers. But all the tips and tricks I've given my buyers, it feels like everybody's using now. And so I created a document that just goes through, here's how to write your best offer. And the top thing on it in bold, large print is make your first offer your best offer. And it goes through various things that can make an offer stronger. And I sent it out to my team and we went through like what else needs to be on here, what needs to be elaborated on. And it explains escalation clauses. It explains language that we can use for appraisal gap, different ways to approach the inspection. And part of the reason for that is it's time consuming to go through what all those options are. And so I found myself having these really lengthy conversations with buyers about how to make their best offer, but I wasn't necessarily always covering the same thing with each buyer. And so now every buyer is getting the same information. I'm updating it regularly as I see new things in the market. And I haven't lost a multiple offer situation since I created that document. It's been really helpful. It's basically a menu of services.
Thank you guys for that. I really like the idea of that written down, typed out, and you're able to actually give it to the clients, and then they can give it to the mom and dad who's got those opinions that you didn't know. Those people out there that, because that's a lot of information, try to explain to the loved ones in your life as to why you're going to be offering and doing those things. So thank you for that. So definitely can't wait to hear your feedback on this one. Buyer agreements. We have listing agreements out there. So buyer exclusive agency agreements, yay, nay. Does it set unrealistic buyer expectations? Like what are your thoughts on buyer agency agreements? Mark, you were very
well, I was doing this and then now I'm kind of going like this.
You definitely have something to say on that one. Let me hear from you.
Yeah, so for years and years and years and years, I've never had a buyer's agency agreement. I firmly believe for listing agreements and for buyer's agreements that you can't make somebody stick into those contracts. I mean, it just feels to me, it feels very grimy. And I don't like it. And, if somebody doesn't want to work with me, they don't want to work with me. But on the flip side of that, something that I think would be important for new agents out there or agents out there to hear, and I'm just going to be totally transparent, is that I don't like the BACs that are slipping. And so now when we know that our buyers are out there looking at for sale by owners, mainly, let's just talk about that right now. There are for sale by owners out there because everybody can do it on their own, and that's fine. But I hear a lot of pushback from those for sale by owners that they're not going to help. They're not going to pay a BAC. So I was shaking my head no, but now I'm thinking, yeah, we actually do that in the form of stating that the BAC will be 3% and explaining to the buyers that should they find a property that does not compensate, then it is their duty to do that, and helping them understand that upfront really makes it a lot easier later. So if the BAC is 2.5 and we say that it's 3, then those buyers are just bringing a 0.5 to the table at closing. Or if it's nothing, then they will bring 3. So I changed my mind. I do have those.
Mark, thank you. Do either of you ladies have anything different you want to share, add on to that?
No, Mark answered it beautifully. I don't have anything to add. That was perfect.
I've never used them, but feel like it's something I need to learn more about.
Thank you for that. Okay. I want you to think back to your first days in real estate. Did you plan on starting a team? At least one day, maybe not right then, but were your intentions on starting a team? And then when and how did that moment occur? Was there like an aha moment, or was there, I don't know, something that happened, and maybe what even maybe scared you about starting a team, if there ever was something that the idea of having a team kind of was not appealing to you?
I'll lead us. I started a team when I found that my administrative steps were starting to slip. It's just because business was starting to take off, and the things that brought me business weren't getting done. Simple things like maybe farming a neighborhood, or just client follow-up, or just engagement within the community. When that started to slip, I recognized that I needed at least some support from an administrative element. So my first team member was 8 hours a week, administrative, and supported those tasks. And then I added a team member when I needed more control of my schedule, which really just was a response to having a family. So when I was having my second, I decided I really needed to have more control over mainly my evenings and weekends. And that's when I brought on my team member. So those were the needs, those were the aha moments. The scariest thing probably for me was I wanted to be sure that I would be an excellent team member. My concern was adding that as a role. Would that add stress or more work, more hours? Adding a team leader as a mentor, would that be more complicated? So that was my biggest concern when I kind of delved into a team role.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Molly. And quick on that, when you first started as a newer agent, was a team something always in the horizon for you, or it just came up as you were needing things?
Yeah, it was not something that I intended on doing or saw the need for it. It was something that I wanted to do to continue to grow the business and also create some life balance at home. So yeah, didn't foresee it coming.
Okay, thanks.
I absolutely never envisioned having a team. I started my team 3.5 years ago, very organically. So I think right about the production level of like 10 million, I realized that I was doing what Molly said, I was slipping. But I wasn't only slipping on my marketing and things like that. I'll say it, I was slipping on really important things for my buyers and sellers. I felt like I wasn't there in the way that I needed to be. So my first person on my team, and I don't know if I've got all my notes here, I don't know if I'm messing it up, but my first person on my team was a transaction manager. So I can't stress this enough for anybody who's watching this. I feel like people are watching, maybe taking notes about how to build teams. Haven't yet. I think that might be the point of this. And I just say transaction manager, transaction manager, transaction manager for me was what was so great, because it took away the pressure of doing the little odds and ends, and then allowed me to put the spotlight back on the most important people in our business, and that's our clients. So that was the aha moment, happened around 10 million. And then the rest of my team just kind of came organically. All of my team members are past clients in one way or another. So you may have seen us saying that we wanted to add team members in the last 6-7 months, and we've totally stopped doing that. We want it to be organic. We want to find these people organically, like we started our team, and not get away from that. So that is something that it's really cool. I really love that about our team. And as a former competitive athlete, I understand the gratification of working on a team. So I really love what Molly said, worried that she wasn't going to be able to serve in that capacity. But then as soon as I started serving in that capacity, I don't think that I could look back now, because I get so much from helping other people grow their businesses. And really at a point where I was kind of feeling burnt out, it reinvigorated me.
Nice. Interesting. Thank you. Kelly, did you want to share anything on that one?
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily expected to start a team when I started in real estate, but I added my first team member in 2014, and I had a lot of trial and error. So I don't feel like I really successfully got my team off the ground until 2019. But I also didn't hire well until probably that point. So I tried to hire people that I liked, that I thought needed some assistance, versus people who really had the potential and the drive. And that was a big challenge of mine, was wanting to do a lot of like help and coaching, which I do enjoy doing, but you have to work with people who are willing to accept that and actually work for it. And so I did not hire an admin first, which would have been the best option. And I had some trouble getting the right admin in place, but I have over the years figured out like my reasons for having a team, and money is the least important reason. And so I think that's really an important thing to figure out when you're starting a team, is what is your goal with it? And mine first and foremost was quality of life. And secondly was serving people better. Maybe those should be opposite, but I think those are also kind of intertwined, because I got to a point where I couldn't handle everything I was doing and I wasn't serving people well, which is kind of what Molly was saying about some of what she wanted to do was starting to slip. And so it was time to hire. And I like to teach. And so that's kind of third. And then like some monetary benefit is fourth, but really if anything, it offsets some of my costs of what I do for marketing, for having an admin, all of that.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. Similar but different perspectives. So if we asked your team members privately in a sneaking manner, no, we wouldn't do that. But if we asked your team members, what do you think they would say the greatest benefit is for them for being on your team? In your opinion.
I would say mine would initially say we have a beer fridge.
Would you say we
But
have what?
really they would
We need further
They
explanation.
would, right? And you're hired. They step into a working system. You know, they can do a lot of things mindlessly. We have our marketing, we have a calendar of operating that they can really just focus on their business because the team support lays a foundation that that allows them really just to focus on their sphere and their goals and their marketing. So I think that the foundation of the business of the team runs really well. I think also they like the atmosphere, the mentoring that they get, the counseling that they get allows them to have kind of a quicker start to their career. So I think just kind of stepping into a working system is what they enjoy most.
I asked one of my team members, and the first thing he said without hesitation was camaraderie. Just like having a group of people that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can count on, is really valuable. And actually last year, one of my team members hired the other one to sell his house, to list and sell his house, because he didn't try, like he felt like his colleague would do a better job selling his house than he would, because he couldn't be objective about his house. And I think that says a whole lot about how tight-knit the team is.
Okay.
Oh, it's me. Oh crap, it's me. Okay, I didn't freeze up. So my team structure, I mean, so basically everything that they said, camaraderie is really important. I think we all work better. We're all people who come from backgrounds in sports of being on teams, and we understand the importance of people picking up slack where we know that we're weak. So man, I love how we're all together so much. And it really is, I don't want to sound cheesy, but I know there's a time when my agents will leave. I know that, you know, there's a time when they will grow and they won't need the nest anymore, and maybe they'll go off on their own. But what we've provided for them is really a quick jump start. And I think that my team would say that they love the fact that they were able to get into the business without ever being in the business before, and double their income from what it was when they were at their old jobs. And that can be said for every one of my agents. And no, money isn't everything, but man, it's a lot. So when you know that you're getting into 100% commission job, and you can follow somebody ahead of you who has, like Kelly said, by trial and error, made some mistakes, and we're open about them. That's the thing, you have to be open about it. And that's when your team really prospers, is when we as team leaders are open enough to say, hey, I really screwed this up when I was an agent so many years ago. And if I had to do it all over again, here's the roadmap, here's what I would do. And like Kelly said, if those people will actually listen, then we're all going to be in a better place. And that's what they're here for, right? They're on a team. They're not individual producers. They want our leadership. So when they're willing to listen, it makes for an awesome journey.
Thank you for that. I love that whole idea of being able to step into a system that's already working. I think especially when you're brand new into real estate, that is a huge deal, because usually they have been working at a job of some sort, and that's what we all do. You step into, you know what you're supposed to do, and there's already systems in place for you, and it makes it comfortable. And so, and to piggyback on what Mark said, I love that you basically said you hold people like this with open hands. Like, you want them to stay, you make it very comfortable, cultivating experience. But if they do grow and leave the nest, that's okay too. And I think that is I think that's such a wonderful perspective and abundant mindset that that would make people feel comfortable to step into your world on your team. So one more question for you. We do have an audience question, so I want to make sure I get those. But What would you say has been your greatest personal benefit of having a team? If you feel like you haven't already answered it, maybe you have, but your personal greatest benefit from having a team.
I'll go first because I might be getting a little emotional, so I'll just get it out of the way. Um, for me, Marcus is my partner, and he is our transaction manager as well, for anybody who doesn't know. So we've been together for 9 years, and he has been working for me for over, I think, 6 of those years. And for us, our team really is like a family because we don't have a lot of family. Both of our mothers have passed away in the last year and a half. We've had a lot of loss and a lot of grief. And one of the greatest things for us is that when we say we're in our backyard a lot, so are our team members, or, we're out doing events, and it's really a family atmosphere. And for Marcus and I, it has been so uplifting to have people who are really, really down for you all the time, through the good, through the bad. Cool things that we're starting to be able to do now that we've never been able to do before. My motto is that I will take you with me. And what that means is, for my team members, as soon as I start doing better, they start doing better. And so, I'm very transparent. If that means that splits get better, then splits get better. If that means that now we're investing in flip houses, which we are, then that means we're going to open up those opportunities to our team members. We want to have it be more than just real estate. And maybe that's not the right approach, but boy, it feels really right for me.
Thank you. Lady?
That's awesome. I would say for me, our greatest personal, our team is very close as well. We work together in the office almost daily, spend a lot of time together outside of the office. But I would say, maybe most surprisingly, is that they challenge me in a way that I wasn't anticipating. That I could probably run my business the same way as I did last year to this year, or 2012 to 2013, and be and have enough and be successful. But they encourage me, or because they're so creative, the way that they run their business is slightly different, that it pushes me, drives me to have more of a growth mindset and to think of things differently and approach different situations, or to approach our marketing, the way of growing our business. So I appreciate how they have kind of given me the drive to be the best leader for them. I owe them that. And I'm not satisfied unless I feel like I am that leader for them. So they've given me the opportunity and the mindset to think a little differently. So that's the greatest personal benefit for me.
Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow either of those things, or how I made it on this panel at the moment. But I think what both Mark and Molly have said really resonates, that it's very fulfilling. That you're not just in this by yourself, because even when you're at a brokerage with colleagues that you love, it's not the same as having those people that you're working with every day on your team. And so there is a greater accountability, which for me is very positive, because it forces me to get systems in place that maybe I otherwise wouldn't do. But these are people that I really like and respect, and have become somewhat of an extended family. And that's just really wonderfully fulfilling. So definitely not as eloquent as either of them, but I'm just going to say they took my answers.
Ditto. No, I really love this question and all three of your answers, because I'm willing to bet there are some people in the audience today that are on participating, that are contemplating having a team. They're not sure, or maybe like Kelly, they did it once in their career, had one team member, or they attempted and it didn't go well, and they just said, no, I don't know, I'm done with that. And so I want to reiterate things that I just heard you all say. Just for our participants, just to keep in mind, if you are looking for a better quality of life as a realtor, if you are looking to be a little more challenged, maybe just hitting the scoreboard is just not enough for you. Like, can I do 10 million? Can I do 15 million? Maybe that's just not being enough. Or you're wanting more fulfillment and feeling more connected. Um, no one can guarantee it, but our panelists are letting us know that these are things that they're getting from being team leaders. And so many times you just think about the extra work that you're going to have to do, the extra responsibility. And, you know, sometimes the payoff works out, and it's working out for you guys because you're getting those things. So thank you for sharing that. I have a couple of questions I want to switch over to from our wonderful audience. And so one of those are the thoughts on personal letters. So here's the two questions regarding personal letters from buyers to sellers. Do you feel they stress sellers out further? And the second one is, what do you think about, is it a fair housing violation? What are your thoughts on that? So stressing sellers out further and possible fair housing violation. Anyone want to share anything? Feel free.
Yeah, so I've always felt that it's my responsibility that if something comes across my desk that I need to give it to my sellers, right? So an offer, it's our fiduciary responsibility to give it to our sellers. And for me, I just started thinking, that the letters were the same thing. Like, I got to give it to them. And I may be wrong, and boy, this is not the right place to mess up. But here's the thing, I am part of a huge coaching system, and that's the Tom Ferry coaching system. And I get the amazing opportunity to set on Zoom calls like this with some of the coolest agents from all across the United States. And I'll tell you one thing, it is a fair housing issue. It's going to be, I believe, from hearing from these other agents. And that stinks because I love the letters. But let's get real right now. I think we can all say that we've had letters help us. Molly and Kelly, you've had letters help you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
but do you also agree that it's
Yeah.
probably going to be a problem?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
So I think that we're all three in agreement that they do a lot of good, but we'll probably be saying that right until they kick us in the ass, because I'm probably going to get in trouble with them, because my letters that I get from my buyers are extremely personal. And I can see looking back that they probably do cross some boundaries. And as much as I want to get a house for my buyers, I also don't want to be unfair in the advantage. So here's what I've been saying is, I love a love letter from a buyer to the seller, but here's what a seller's going to love even more: a love letter from the buyer's lender. So if the lender can take a minute to pick up the phone and talk to us as listing agents and say, here are the reasons why my buyer is so qualified. And more importantly, listen, I'm not Rocket Mortgage. I'm not these other people who are just, my clients are just a number to me. I actually am going to answer questions for you, and I'm going to help you get this transaction across the finish line. That's the love letter that Mark Branch is looking for right now. So there's my answer.
Anyone
I don't
wanna
present
add?
them to sellers, and I haven't really at all. I usually ask my sellers if they want to see them, and my suggestion is that they don't look at them until after they've accepted an offer, and then read the one that, if there's one that was sent with the offer they accepted, then read it and learn about the people who are buying your house. But I don't think that somebody should be making a huge financial decision swayed by emotion in that regard. That doesn't mean that I haven't encouraged buyers to write them in the past, but ever since our MyBoard president brought up that it's a fair housing violation, and I really started considering that, I've not encouraged buyers to write them. So I
Have
I
you
don't
gone
think
as
that
far as to say no on the agent to agent remarks, no love letters? Have you gone that far? Because
I have
I
not.
have started doing that.
I have not, but I don't think that I don't feel like I have an obligation to present a buyer's letter to my seller. It's
Okay.
not, unless it is like written into like the offer as this is, a letter is attached to this. I don't really see that it's part of the offer necessarily. It's an extra that I don't think is necessary. And in the past, I did ask my sellers if they wanted to see them. My husband, whenever we've sold a house, is always like, I want a letter. He wants to make sure that like that the buyer's gonna love our house. But, and I get that. I mean, I have been selective in the past about when I sold my first house. I didn't want to sell it to somebody who was gonna use it half the time. It was gonna be a second home for them, and they were rude to me at my open house, and I nearly asked them to leave. I did not take their offer, but I did use it to help support my appraisal. So yeah, I mean, I can totally understand from the seller side where there's value in it and where it sways people, but
Nothing to add.
Holly, do you have anything different you want to add?
No, that's
No?
perfect.
Okay, I do. Thank you for both of you. That was very, I love that. That was very detailed, and yeah, that will be a whole nother training probably. If I could say, because I feel like it's out there and people are probably like, well, what? Think about the protected classes and making sure, just encouragement with sending out love letters if you're doing that, making sure that you're not mentioning any of that, like that, you know, that your client, your buyer is in a handicap, and they're going to love the handicap accessibility areas, or that the color of your clients, or the gender, those kind of things. If you're a little concerned about how do I make sure I don't hit a fair housing violation, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to help you. You can certainly reach out to Mybrow, your managing broker. Think that through. But thank you for touching on that, Mark and Kelly. Both of you think that was very good. I don't want to get into the weeds of that right now, but I appreciate that. One of our other audience questions were, how are you handling appraisals? As a list agent, are you preparing an appraisal comp package, meaning for the appraiser? Does that differ when working with a buyer? So are you doing it if you do prepare a package, do you only do it when you're working for the list agent, or do you ever do that when you're working on the buyer side? And has that changed from how you used to do it? How you handle appraisals, has that changed because of this market versus when before? So
I can lead us. I do prepare a package on my listings. I send them to the appraiser both electronically and in the property. If I have information about other comparable properties that aren't obvious in the BLC, I'll make notes to that. Whether it was sold as is and that wasn't disclosed, but I happen to be the buyer agent on that transaction, so I know some information, I'll be sure to disclose that. Also, if there's any private sales, sometimes my sellers know of private sales more than I do, and they'll know of a neighbor who recently sold to a sibling. And so I will reach out to that person and ask if they had an appraisal they'd be willing to share. And if it's helpful for our appraisal, then we'll share that as well. So that is something that we are putting together for our listings only. We have a couple lenders who we work very closely with that would like a little bit of a heads up if we think that appraisal may come in low, only because they don't want to be the bearer of bad news when it does. And if we've prepared our clients, our buyer clients, that it's potentially going to come in low, it takes some heat off of our lender when that does happen. in those cases, we're almost confident that it's going to happen because we wrote in a very strong, appraisal shortage addendum. So we're putting together packages on our listings only, to answer your question.
Thank you. And were you doing that, Molly, before this market got a little crazy? Have you always done that, or is that something you're just now doing?
I would have done it before. I have done it before when I was concerned about the appraisal. If I felt our purchase price was a solid win, I wouldn't worry about it. But if we were reaching on our price or the comps were tough, then I would put together a package on that.
Anyone else want to share anything?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't put together a packet. I kind of suspected that Molly did. She's very detail oriented, and that's awesome. But I will be the kid in the corner that doesn't do it. Around appraisals, though, I think what's important right now is having a conversation with some of your clients, your buyers, to know that I think a lot of people just think that, well, we can fall back on an appraisal. So what I have been seeing personally on my listings is people offering crazy amounts of money to get the attention of the sellers. And I feel like, knowing that there's no way in hell that it's going to appraise for that much, and then saying to them, hey, when we get it, don't worry about it because it's not going to appraise. Shocker, a lot of times it does. And how mad are those buyers going to be if that agent kind of guaranteed to them that it wasn't going to appraise and then it does? So I think my little speech here is just for agents out there to don't set yourself up for failure by letting your buyers think that it's just not going to appraise and you'll get out of offering, having to pay that. That's all I have to say.
I do put together appraisal packets for nearly every listing. And I have offered to do it for listing agents when it's a competitive listing situation and they're concerned about appraisal. But then I had somebody get really mad at me when I didn't do it. She didn't tell me when the appraisal was, or reach back out to me to say, hey, you said you were willing to do that. Can you do that? And so I've not actually had anybody take me up on it. We didn't have an appraisal issue on that one though. But just, especially if I know the area well, I think, can I add some value to my client's offer by saying, I'll be happy to help put together some comps to support the price. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love, love, love it. Mark, that's why we have you on here, so you can be a little different from the ladies, okay? So it's all good.
Okay.
You earned your right at the table just like they did. Package or no package. Okay. Audience question. Can you talk about why listing prices are being updated? Oh my God. Okay. Can you talk about why listing prices are being updated to the accepted purchase price once under contract? For example, it's listed at $220. They accepted an offer at $245. So when they go in and pin it, it's pinned it at the $245 amount. Anyone care to comment on that? Anyone care?
Stupid. I mean,
how do you really feel, Mark?
It's stupid. I don't even understand. I mean, we can see what's going on. Come on. Like, what do they think that they're pulling one over on anybody except for just making themselves look ridiculous? All right, peace out.
Anybody else care to share on what Mark said?
No, Mark nailed it. Spoke for all of us.
And the fact that the appraiser can also see what they have done. It is not an incognito move. So thank you. And just for everyone, if you're not paying attention, Andrew has stepped in on my board's behalf to comment on any fair housing questions you may have, to provide information there. You do not reach out to Mark for that question. You can reach out. No, you can reach out to my board directly for that, seriously, to help you through that. I always tell people, especially the agents in my office, we pay MyBor a fee for a reason, and it's not just for access into the BLC. They are there. They are highly trained and educated staff. And the only way you get your full use of that is picking up the phone and calling them for advice, help on different things. So make sure you use them. Okay, there's another question. Doing this.
I'm getting really embarrassed because like all I can see on my screen is Molly and Kelly and you. And now I'm seeing names of people like that I really like and admire. And I don't understand why I'm on this panel.
You don't, okay.
Mark,
I mean, no.
Mark, we did not want you to see those people because we want you to just keep being your badass self, okay? Just keep being you. So just be there.
Hey, Crystal, do you mind if I pop in with a question?
Yes, go ahead, Rosie.
Guys, I'm curious. Each one of you mentioned that there was a certain level in your production where you like started slipping or were running into tension. Would you all mind sharing like what is that level of production? Maybe so some other agents know like, okay, when will I get to that level where I'm like, I need to bring on help?
I think that's different for everybody. I didn't have kids until my 10th year in the business. And so that impacted me differently on the hours I was willing to work and put into things. So I don't know that, I think mine was about 6 million where it was like, I could use a little bit of administrative help.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So for me, I agree with Kelly that it's different for everyone. I'm gonna go on a limb here and just say that it's not, I think that a lot of people think that it's glamorous to have a team. I think that they think that it's really cool. So they're gonna have a team like out of the gate. And what I would say is just be the best agent that you can possibly be for as long as you can be that individual agent until you feel like you need a team member. And at that moment, it's when you need to add someone. Do not have a goal of being a team because you get to have your name higher on a sign or you get to have team pictures that look really cool or anything like that. And I think it's, I was at Century 21 for my entire career. I owe everything to them. Sheets, big shout out to Sheets. And I got the question when I started my team, do you want to be famous or do you want to be rich? And the thing is, if somebody answers, do you want that I want to be famous, it's a bad reason to have a team. Like and so just I would say hold on as long as you possibly can. And for me, that was 10 million. I couldn't do it anymore, but don't just do it because everyone on this panel will attest to the fact that it costs a lot of money to have a team. It costs a lot of time and effort, and it could be something that you do that throws your business out of whack, actually. And you could, and my worst fear is that I will do worse than I did on one of the years when I was an individual. I mean, I've got team members who are on my heels on production, and I'm like, whoa, like this is not good. Like I've got to step up my game. And I guess that could be it could mean that they're really good, or it could mean that I'm lagging. But yeah, I just don't just have dreams of that it's always better as a team, because it's not.
Love that. Molly, did you?
The only thing that I would add to that is, for me, I added, yep, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I added admin around 6 million. But for me to piggyback on do it for the right reasons, my goal was to work only 2 evenings a week. So it has nothing to do with my volume and everything to do with the need for a team member. So I was interested in adding a team member to help me meet that goal of only working 2 evenings a week and Saturdays. I wanted those other evenings and Sunday to be for my family. And so I don't really know when that was in terms of volume. I just know when I was no longer able to do that on my own, and it was a disservice to either my clients or my family. And I had to add a team member to find that, to reach that goal of the working hours I needed and wanted.
I'm going to give some credit where credit is due. That Molly is one of my team building gurus that I go to when I have questions about like, what do I do next? She is incredibly modest, and I hope it's okay to share this, but she took maternity leave, like turned off and like handed stuff over to her team and actually took maternity leave. It's a pretty incredible thing. And I think talking to her about things like that, as we're preparing for a second adoption this year, buying our lake property and being able to spend time there. I don't think when I started in this business, I realized that it is possible to do things that way. And so just having a team make some of those things possible, and not just for you, but for other team members. I insisted that one of my team members take a paternity leave this year. And so I just think that's a really incredible thing that Molly's been able to do, but then also being able to share that with other people and help them figure out how they can also have that quality of life, especially like with a family, is really, really important.
Thanks, Cal.
That was, I think that those answers are worth the price of admission on their own. So thank you guys, all of you, for that. I had one pre-planned question I did want to ask about how does the client experience differ working with your team versus an independent agent? You know, in your opinion, of course. Do you believe that experience is more valuable, needed in this current market, or does it vary? So anyone, Kelly, looks like you're ready on that one.
I mean, I think experience matters in any market, but what I've been trying to really hammer to my sellers is like experience is incredibly valuable, because getting your home under contract, anybody can do that. Can anybody get your home under contract for the most money, best possible terms? And can they get it to closing, right? So that experience is incredibly valuable. And I think maybe more so right now while emotions are running high and there's a lot to leave on the table if you're just taking that first offer that's through the door. But also for buyers and helping them write the best possible offer to help them understand what the market is. And having been in the market and been able to pivot in previous years, we all went through the Great Recession in our business. And being able to like pass that information and knowledge onto our team members to help them be up to speed. It's like a superpower that they get to have that experience from their team leads. So I think there's just no doubt in my mind that experience is really important. But the other part of your question about like that client experience differing working with the team, I think absolutely. I mean, again, what I said about you get that knowledge and value. And I don't know what Molly and Mark do, but like I've limited geographic areas where I will work with buyers because I have an expertise in certain areas that I feel really good and confident in, but also I can be more efficient with my time. And so I will kind of split up leads for buyers among team members geographically so that people are getting a little bit more specialized knowledge from their agent. So I think there's a lot of good value that can come from that depending on how you set up.
Thank you, Kelly. Anybody want to expand on that?
I would just say that I had a fear when I started a team that I had heard when I was an individual agent, a lot of people who had worked with teams and the client gets passed off around, and you know, the seller, one person shows up for the listing and then a team member is the only person that they hear from. I don't want to be that person. So I have a commitment to my clients from the moment that we start, that they understand as sellers, I'm the only person that I'm the only agent that they're going to be dealing with. and no, I mean, I'm not saying bad for anyone who does it differently. It's just my goal, because I think that's a perception out there that people might have of us as team leaders, is because it's kind of happens a lot. So you'll always deal with me when you're listing. And then secondly, I don't know if you guys have had this, but consistently for the last 6 to 12 weeks, I have had people calling me as the listing agent, buyers calling me and saying, my agent can't get me into the property. Will you show me your listing? Hello, I can't think of any better reason for you to work with a team or to be on a team, because I will tell you what, BGR never goes, like, we have a group chat, and the moment that one of us cannot show a property, one of the other agents will pick it up and show it like that. And it is so cool to have that. I know that when Marcus and I went to Oregon, that my buyers were taken care of. I know that if I'm at another appointment and my client, like now more than ever, you've got to be able to see a property when it hits the market. So me having a team behind me, or me being a buyer that has the branch group on my side, I know that I've got 6 agents that can show me a property if need be. So I think it's a huge, tremendous asset.
Thank you, Mark. Molly, did you want to add anything?
The only thing I would add to that is, because we have support on our team, on all 3 of our teams, we have somebody serving in a support role. We're able to really give our clients us, while someone else is doing some follow-up things. We're able to have quicker communication and more engagement with our clients, because we're not overwhelmed with the checklist of a transaction. Goes back to why we keep saying transaction management is the most important role to first add to your team. So I think there's a benefit to the team, because our clients are getting a quicker response to us, whether it's in a property or just a response to an email.
Thank you, guys. I really love that the answers from all 3 of you on that. Obviously, Molly drove that one home with the transaction coordinator, transaction management, so important. But I also like what Mark was saying, basically, with whether you do it the way he runs his team or the other way that he mentioned, the clear thing is setting up that expectation with your clients. I'm assuming is what you would agree, Mark, is important, however you run it, whether it's going to be, I start with you and then some other agents are going to follow up, or it's just going to be me, kid. This is, you get all me all the time, but letting that client know what your team flow is from the beginning. And then I love the idea that Kelly really shed light to, and that might be one of the reasons why someone would want to start a team. And that is, if you want to be the expert in a certain area, but you don't want to turn away business, why not let that be a motivation for who is on your team, who you select on your team? Would they be willing to work in those areas that you don't want to build a business in? And so what a great way to be able to do that is hand off the outside leads that come from areas that you don't work in, hand them off to your team members. And so thank you all 3 for that. I love that. The only last question I have in here, unless someone else sends us another one before I pass it on to Larry, is do you feel, this is a good one, do you feel that we as agents are putting our buyers in a bad position, having them pay $10,000 to $20,000 over the appraised price just to win offers?
Unfortunately,
No.
that's just the market that we're in. So no, I don't think we're putting them in a bad position. I think if you're doing your job as their realtor, as their advocate, and you are outlining the current market value of the home based on the current comps, and you give them the information that they need to make a decision, that you've done your job. And you've also outlined the strategies to win the offer. Some you'll be comfortable with, buyers, some you won't be. And it's for them to make that decision. But if you've informed them, then they've got all the information they need to make a decision that they're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
That's also part of my initial buyer consult and has been for years, is talking about appraisals, because we've all had bad appraisals where it is really the value is there. And you might have two different appraisers that come in 30 grand apart, or my worst one was 60 grand apart. Same comps, valued them entirely differently. And so I use those anecdotes to explain to my clients some of what can happen. We're going to look at the sales data and they're going to make the decision they're comfortable with. And that's their choice at the end of the day.
I don't think our leader of the day has anything to add on that, Molly. Thank you for taking that lead role today with you. Honestly, you all, Molly, Mark, and Kelly, thank you so much. You guys were a gift to us this month, and to everyone that's listening live and that will listen later. Whether a person is thinking about starting a team, being on a team, or they're just an agent and they're just a happy independent agent, I think you've all given us some great food for thought. Thank you for sharing your personal experiences. And in such a competitive business, thanks for sharing some of your tips. I don't take that lightly, and I hope everyone here does understand that that was really a true gift that you all gave us by being willing to share some of the things that make you guys so awesome. And so I don't have anything else. Larry, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you, everyone. That was awesome. I hope everyone got a little tidbit out of there, whatever your current situation is, whether you're on a team or not. That was great. Thank you guys for chatting. It was like a fly on the wall. It was fantastic. So real quick, just a reminder, we're still collecting donations for Brookside Elementary. Feel free to reach out. I think Jen's in here in our meeting here. She just put up her Venmo code if you want to Venmo. Like I said, if you want to send a check, please reach out to myself, Todd, Rosie, anyone on the panel, and we can help that. We got $40 so far. And then now, next step, you've already seen him in the chat. You've seen him on social media, Mr. Andrew Mybor.
Larry, can I have a moment of transparency?
Yeah.
So yesterday was Monday, and it was the last Monday of Memorial Day weekend. And I'll be honest, the come down set in. The race is over, the days are winding down, and it's back to real life. But then I come to today, and I'm so excited that I get to start the new week, the new month with Greater Downtown. And boy, did you guys deliver. What an awesome, honest, genuine discussion. And Crystal, great job moderating it. Great job bringing everything full circle. Just what a positive, great way to start the day. So thank you for that. All right. Enough bragging about you. Let's talk about me, and let's talk about your association. My name's Andrew Huber, and these are the headlines coming out of Mybor. We are a member-driven organization. What a great segue. Because if you guys have been loving what Greater Downtown has been doing this year, and as an employee, but also just as a fan, they've just been killing it this year. Mybor is not telling Larry Nutt and his team what to do. We're not telling them what kind of topics, what type of discussion, and that's the type of results you get. It's created by members, for members, and Mybor itself is no exception. And with that being said, we have elections coming up for the most important positions that a member can hold at Mybor, and that is for the Mybor Board of Directors. So this October, voting will begin to elect new Mybor Board of Directors for District 1, which is Northern Marion County. Current representative is Jen Shorts. He's sitting right over there, probably in a box to the left or top or whatever Brady Bunch situation we got going on right now. District 3, which is Southside, which is Southern Marion County, Johnson County, and Brown County. And then the affiliate position. We need an affiliate representative to be the voice for the affiliates at the biggest table at Mybor. Voting is going to occur in October. However, we want to make sure that we are giving an opportunity for any Mybor member to run, to be democratically elected, to be the voice of the Mybor members at the biggest table at Mybor. Are you the visionary leader who will work to ensure Mybor continues to empower members and strengthen the marketplace? Those wishing to run for an open seat should complete a director candidate profile sheet by June 28th. So that's the 28th of this month. So if you're interested in that, I would encourage you just to talk to me. I've had tons of experience, years of elections. So I will give you the honest idea of what you can expect in that role. and then fill out that sheet and run and be democratic elected by your peers to represent them at the biggest table at MIBOR. Like I said, if you're interested, that's going to be June 28th is the cutoff for that. And then for the rest of us, voting is going to happen in October. So of course, MIBOR will market that like crazy as that date comes. But that's what's happening. District 1, District 3, and the affiliate seat are up for grabs. If you've been a MIBOR member for at least 2 years and are ready to become a leader, then REAL is the perfect opportunity for you. The Real Estate Academy of Leadership, or REAL, program is taking place for the 21-22 class year, and applications are now open until June 30th. Program sessions will be in person. Did you hear what I just said? In person. REAL is back. REAL didn't happen last year because of you know why. And this year it's bigger and better than ever. We are back in person. We are accepting applications for REAL. That is happening until June 30th. If you've been in the industry for 2 years, I don't care if you're a realtor or affiliate, apply for REAL. All right. I am humbled as a MIBOR employee to tell you, I truly believe REAL is one of the best things that we offer our members. Take REAL. All right. I'm the MIBOR guy. I'm going to tell you to take REAL regardless. Talk to Larry Nutt, talk to Crystal White, talk to those people who've been through REAL and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. Start building your application, get your letters of recommendation, and get that application in before June 30th. You go to mybor.com/real to find out more of what expectations you can expect for your day. It's one Wednesday per month where you learn about some sort of facet of community and what we can do in our industry to make Central Indiana a better place in general, but also for our industry. June 30th is the cutoff. Go to mybor.com/real. This month's episode of Leave Your Shoes by the Door, MIBOR's podcast, features, I don't know, Jen Short. So be sure to check out mybor.com/podcast to hear the story of Jen Short, some of her themes and philosophies of success, and then a little bit about her past. Who was Jen Short before she was the realtor we all love and adore today? So go to mybor.com/podcast, check out that episode with Jen Short. And then our June episode will be featuring Tyler Hankins. He's a realtor down in Shelby County, and that's going to be released probably later today. So be sure to check that out, mybor.com/podcast. If you like what you hear, subscribe. Clear cooperation. I know you guys might have talked about this last month, but this is a biggie, all right? And I'm going to paraphrase it the best that I can. First thing I want everyone to know, this is nationwide. This is coming down from NAR to all of us across the country. Clear cooperation was introduced in April of 2019, but especially the way the market is now, it is more important than ever that we maintain our integrity as an industry and make sure we are all abiding by the clear cooperation policy. Let me make it very simple. Any sort of public marketing, sign in the yard, internet, flyers, any sort of public marketing, either from you or from your client, you are then required to enter that listing into the BLC in 1 business day. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't lose a wink of sleep over this because it's more important that we know what's going on in the market before they know what's going on in the market. And that's what clear cooperation does. Make sure you are abiding by the cooperative aspect of your membership with MIBOR by making sure you are abiding by the clear cooperation policy, public marketing, 1 business day in the BLC. Of course, we have all different types of scenarios. Shelly Specchio talks about it in the video. So if you want to go to mybor.com/clear cooperation, we can break it down for you even more, but that's really it. Public marketing, 1 business day in the BLC. All right, moving on. June 16th from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. MIBOR Nation is working for NeighborLink Indianapolis. NeighborLink helps senior citizens who still own their homes with home improvement projects. If you're wanting to get your hands dirty for your community, well, this is it. Register in the MIBOR Nation Facebook group. We literally have maybe 2 spots open for this. NeighborLink is an incredible organization, and NextGen is simply just showing up and doing manual labor for the people of Indianapolis. That's what we do. June 16th from 8:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. Lunch will be provided. We really only have 1 to maybe 3 spots open for this. So if you're interested, get on that right now. Go to the MIBOR Facebook. Rosie, if you could maybe help in the chat, help get people. Rosie Newman, our vice chair of MIBOR NextGen, maybe she can put something in the chat to make it easier, but I'm not kidding you. We are very limited on spots, so act on that right now. June 16th, 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are serious about fair housing, and you should be too. Join us on June 23rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for our next virtual event, The Way Home, a fair housing training with Paula Monthofer. I promise this will not be your typical fair housing training. Our dynamic speaker will help you gain a new perspective on an old topic in this highly interactive dive into fair housing. We will examine our own bias and leave with a plan to ensure fair treatment for all we serve. As a bonus, this training will count as 3 CE credits, so register now. Since real estate professionals hold the keys, you are the way home for most Americans, so let's make sure we're holding the door open for everyone. You can go to myboard.com and register for that right now. It's called The Way Home, a fair housing training with Paula Monthofer. I'm so excited to announce this next part. Starting in July, technology training classes from MyBoard will be available both in person and virtually. So now, if you have a question about CMAs or auto emails or anything at all about any of the technology that we offer, you can now come back here where I'm sitting in this empty shell of a building of what it used to be at 1912 North Meridian Street. We are coming back in July, so we now have in-person classes, but of course, we're still going to offer that virtually because safety is still the #1 priority. We know COVID is going down or whatever, but we're still going to offer that. Safety is going to be #1. The MyBoard Help Desk has updated their customer support ticket system. Now, if you call or email helpdesk@myboard.com, you will receive a trackable ticket to monitor your issue and ensure a timely response. Tickets and calls are monitored to identify systematic issues impacting our members, individual and office training opportunities, and to continually improve service levels. So wanting to take our customer service to the next level, we are now offering this ticket system. It's no inconvenience to you. It's just a matter of accountability on our end in making sure that you get your questions answered through your association the best and most efficient way possible. The Board of Directors of the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, adopted a new MLS policy requiring that the property address for all residential listings filed with the MLS be disclosed and available to MLS participants and subscribers at the time the listing is submitted to the MLS. Where an address does not exist, a parcel identification number or legal description of the property's location must be filed within the MLS. The change doesn't preclude sellers who need privacy from keeping their address or entire listing off of the publicly accessible displays of their property. So what does this mean? What does this mean for the BLC, for us? Beginning in 2022, confidential addresses will no longer be accepted. We already provide options to suppress the delivery of address to external websites and will work with our vendors to create a mechanism to suppress the address on all consumer displays like auto email for those listings required confidentiality to the public. So once again, I just want to make sure, I know I read a lot of stuff, right? That came from NAR. Basically in 2022, we will no longer allow confidential addresses. Now, of course, there's always going to be exclusive listings. There will be ways to get around that, but just that's what's coming down from NAR in 2022. So exclusive listings, they're not going anywhere. Just that's what's happening. All right. In accordance with the MLS system's longstanding focus on creating an efficient, transparent marketplace for home buyers and sellers, the amount of compensation offered to buyers agents for each MLS listing will be made publicly available. Publicly accessible MLS data feeds will include offers of compensation, and buyers agents will have an affirmative obligation to provide such information to their. This is so much to read. I don't want to read this. I'm gonna read it, but it's too many words for you guys to understand it. I'm gonna copy and paste this in the chat, and you guys can read it for yourself. It's too long. It's too long for you to understand it. I'm gonna skip that, paraphrase it for the future, but I'll just provide you guys with the whole thing in the chat. Showing service availability, the MyBoard BLC is in contract negotiations with a leading showing service provider with the intention of offering a high service, white glove showing service as a member benefit associated with your BLC technology package. Please watch your communications from MyBoard for more information forthcoming. We expect implementation from late Q3 to early Q4. That's right, your association is getting their own showing service provider. So be sure to look on the lookout for that when fall comes around. Realtor Action Day, or RAD, is coming up on July 16th. RAD was created to provide MyBoard Realtor members with the opportunity to give back to their communities through placemaking and quality of life projects and to help encourage volunteerism across the MyBoard region. On RAD, realtors will volunteer at 9 different locations, making a notable and combined impact within our communities. Stay tuned for your opportunity to plug in on a project. More info will be available soon at myboard.com/ECDC. So if you're wanting to get your hands dirty, volunteer for your community, there's going to be tons of opportunities. That's coming on July 16th. We will make sure you're plugged in with MyBoar's Facebook. We will be releasing opportunities soon on that. But July 16th is it, myboard.com/ECDC. And finally, your professional services department has a wealth of information to share. I'm not going to read this because I have an example to tie directly into your conversation. When you guys are discussing fair housing, and not just fair housing, but any time that you think you might be walking the line of something that might get you in trouble or something that might be a violation, just something that gets you in hot water with our industry, that's where professional services come in. I know I don't need to see a show of hands. I know some of you probably have a pretty solid relationship with Tracy Niersty. Maybe you got caught in a jam and you had to talk to Tracy, or you worked with Tracy or Jeanette. That's what they're there for. That's what we are there for. We want to provide you with the resources and tools to be successful. So please, if you're ever on the line you think you might be getting in trouble with fair housing or a violation, be proactive and call Jeanette and Tracy and talk it out. We are on your side. MyBoard is always on your side. We are always supporting the Realtor. All right, I didn't dealing in the room, so I'm going to talk about RPAC. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. This statement couldn't be truer when it comes to protecting your industry and home ownership and strengthening our communities. RPAC has your back. Are you doing your part? $15 is all it takes to become an RPAC investor. With RPAC, you're supporting advocacy levels that ensure that you could conduct business through 2020, are holding the line on real estate taxes and fees, and are pushing for crucial attainable housing across the region. RPAC did that and more. Invest today at myboard.com/RPAC or via your dues bill. Holy cow, did I say a lot of stuff? Summer has kicked off and MyBoard is alive. We are doing everything we can to make sure we are providing our membership with the resources and tools to be successful. So if I said anything that piqued your interest or anything MyBoard related, I will put my email in the chat. It's just andrewhuber@myboard.com. You can ask me any MyBoard thing and I'll help you the best that I can. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Ben Carter to talk about the Realtor Foundation. Ben, you're up.
Thank you, Andrew. So we are today, actually, we're wrapping up our Get Moving virtual race event. I know even a lot of people on this call participated, donated, supported us. Everyone really stepped up in getting on social media, promoting us. It's really awesome to see everybody get out with their kids and their dogs and their family, and get moving for us just to draw some support for us. It ended up being a really successful event. And we look forward to making this a regular thing, hopefully an annual event that we can maybe do in person next year. Special shout out to the MyBoard leadership team, who was our top team fundraiser, and then to your MyBoard board president, Regina, who was an absolute legend and was our top individual fundraiser. The MyBoard staff team as well hit way over their goal, as well as a lot of the fundraising teams did. So we just want to thank all of you just for really showing up just to make this a really impactful event. This month, the foundation is going to put a spotlight on children and families experiencing homelessness in central Indianapolis. You may have heard it before, but the average age of a person, a homeless person in this country is 7 years old. Which is heartbreaking. When most of us picture a homeless person, I know when I do or when I used to, I mean, you think of a man, you think of a grown man, a single man. But the reality is children and youth make up about 30% of the homeless population, which is just a huge number, and even more are families with kids. The effects of homelessness on a child are lifelong. They are much more likely to have behavioral and learning disabilities, and just the trauma of homelessness on a kid often leads to substance abuse, mental health issues. It's got a huge impact on career development and education as that child grows up. So we just want to implore you to support us this month so we can link some hope for those kids out there. We have a lot of great organizations that we support that are directed at youth and at families. They're doing really amazing things in the community. One of the ways that you can support us is to join us at our summer party in July. It's called License to Thrill this year. We are having a James Bond theme. We're going the whole 9 yards, black sunglasses, martinis, exotic cars. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's on July 23rd at the Silo Auto Conservatory. If you haven't been there, it's a really cool place, a lot of awesome cars. Tickets are just $40. They are on sale now on our website. We are still looking for more sponsors for the event. And we're also looking for items for our silent auction. So if anybody has any ideas about that, shoot me or Gabby an email. We would love to hear from you. And that is everything I got for now.
Back to you, Larry.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Lots of knowledge. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of them. If you have questions on the License to Thrill, a couple of us on the downtown division or on the committee, feel free to reach out. We do have one last housekeeping thing. June 23rd, we are partnering with the Northside MIBOR division to do our, used to be annual, we took a year off and we're back, Handlebar social event. It's on June 23rd. You should have seen something in your email about it. If you have questions, reach out. You'll see it on the social media. And then lastly, we were off in July. So we will announce, we like to announce our meetings 1 month before. So watch your email inboxes for that. If you have any questions about how to get involved, feel free to reach out, but appreciate y'all being here. That's all I have. Unless anyone else has anything else to add, have a great Tuesday. It feels like Monday, but it's Tuesday. So take care, everyone.
Have an awesome June, everybody.